Has the bubble truly popped in property, or are we just in a cycle? Now, interestingly, some data came out recently that listings for rental properties are 41% higher than they were the year before. And I believe that they're sort of at their highest rate for a decade, which is pretty crazy. If you're a renter like me, that means you've got choice, and you can maybe even negotiate with your landlord and say, hey, how about me rent? You're not increasing that. Now, rents went up during the pandemic period, which was a very weird economic period. But if we step through this and think about this and what it could mean, there'll be a lot of people who are rental property investors that may not be able to rent their properties. Now, if they can't rent their properties, well, then maybe they can't service the debt. And if they can't service the debt, both emotionally and financially, which are two different things, what may they do? Sell it. If they go to sell it, well, what price are they going to get? Well, they're going to have to accept what the market is willing to pay. Now, many people who purchased property over in 2021 and 2020, they're not going to like the fact that their property is not worth what they thought it may be worth. But because nobody likes going backwards, right? But the market will only pay what it wants to pay for the asset or the liability. So there are going to be some people getting some serious lessons. Now, secondly, on that, I think we're seeing an overhang of properties that were listed for sale that weren't managed to be sold. Now, I was speaking to a real estate agent yesterday, and he said, you've got to be really careful when you go and list your property, because if it stays on the market for some time, the perception from the potential buyers is, oh, that's overpriced. It's been on there 6 months. Why hasn't it sold? What's wrong with it? So you've got to price it well, you've got to position it well, you've got to prepare it well, and all these different things. But I think a lot of people have probably gone, right, we're going to take our property to the market, and then they haven't been able to get the price that they want, and so then they've been frustrated and they go, well, hang on, let's wait until we can get a better price. And I heard business owners talking about this when it comes to their rental properties, or even their own home owner properties, where they're like, we're just going to wait until. And we see this at the moment too. As soon as we go into winter, a lot of people believe, well, actually wait until summer, the house price will be more, that's when there's more activity. Now, behind a lot of this is something that I spoke about a long time ago, and it was when the media, well, it's probably a bit unfair to say the media, but when people were gassing it all up saying, oh, there's going to be pent-up demand, you just wait, you wait for interest rates to come down a little bit, oh, there's all this pent-up demand. Yeah, what is there also? Pent-up supply. A whole heap of people that are like, I am waiting to sell this property because I don't want it anymore, but I don't want to get my ass handed to me when it comes to the price. So I've just got to hold on a little bit longer. And as soon as people started to return to the market, people thought, all right, I better list my property as well. And then boom, we had a flood of properties come onto the market. So this is a very, very ugly position for property investors to find themselves in, that are over leveraged or haven't understood this or won't be able to weather the storm. And add into that levels of unemployment around 5%, also immigration slowing down compared to prior periods. We were really living in a bubble in many different aspects of the economy and things that really drive an economy. So it's going to be fascinating to watch. The government have also said, hey, we've got the wallet, the checkbook is shut, don't expect too much cash or any handouts in the upcoming budget. So they're keeping the purse closed as well. So we're not going to see a flood of money from them coming in and pushing things up or pushing confidence and employment and things. So, for all of us, I know we can talk about it in jest and whatnot, but you've got to be really serious about the financial situation that you're in right now. And I was speaking to someone recently about their situation and coming from a business and a accounting angle, but I said, let's just clear, sell one of these properties. You're hating it. Sell one to Chris. I couldn't sell that. It's an Auckland property. You never sell Auckland property. I'm like, okay, well, don't talk to me about this anymore. Like, you're not going to fix your stress, your emotion, your stress, your scarcity, the anxiety is caused by the debt. We've over leveraged ourselves and we can't afford it right now. We need to give the debt back. So we can't afford the asset. The asset's not ours. But no, because we have this belief, like once we have it, and people, human behavior, they will fight harder to keep things that they have than they will to work hard for things that they don't have. So once you do own that property, it is so hard to let it go. The other type of profile as well is you will find somebody who is just waiting for the market to improve because they don't want to like lose money on their purchase, because they don't want to be the person that's, you know, like the only one person in New Zealand who hasn't made money selling a property. And so they are waiting for it to get better, but then they're forgetting about all the costs that they're incurring in the meantime. They're probably like, is the property gain, if it was to even going to go up, is it going to actually recover the things that they are currently having to spend on, like rates and servicing the loan and things like that? So this is a very, very interesting time, like I say, and you know, property investors would really want to be on their toes for a period like this and even have emergency funds for their rental properties. You know, what if you can't rent your property out and all of a sudden you've got vacancy, and then, you know, people aren't willing to pay the rent that you currently had it, or last had it rented at, and you know, that you've got to top that up yourself. And so yeah, the game has really, really changed, and I'm sure eventually like things will change, but we're really seeing a lot of the air being taken out of the bubble. And I think the property prices are kind of median in line with what property was maybe 4 years ago. So we've not really had any growth in property. We've had basically sideways growth. So, you know, people, if you're looking to buy, for instance, you want to be really careful about what you're paying and how long does this go on for. Where's the FOMO coming from? Can't really see too much FOMO. Yet we might have a decrease in interest rates, for instance, but even then, you know, I don't know. I think the FOMO is going to take a long time to be back in the old property market. You know, something could happen where they've got to flood the money with flood the system with money again, and all that could change, because what are Kiwis going to do? They're probably going to repeat the cycle and go and put their money into property. But she is fascinating to watch play out, and no matter where you sit in it, you know, you can learn something through this as well, and you can watch it happen, and these cycles do repeat, and you get to learn a lot about an economy. So crazy times, fascinating to watch. I hope everybody's looking after themselves and not getting too stressed by it all. Otherwise, let us know what you think in the comments.